Hello, welcome to Page2Plate, my VSG story. I'm Sherry LeClaire. I'm an author, an editor, and a teacher, and I've made this channel for talking about my journey to bariatric surgery. In my last video, which was incidentally my first video for this channel, I talked about my journey to bariatric surgery. So, in specific, what I was doing in order to be approved for the surgery. On April 23rd, I had my intake appointment with a nurse practitioner at the bariatric clinic in Halifax, and a dietitian from the same clinic, and that was a phone appointment. And during that appointment, they asked me things about like what I've been doing to prepare for the surgery, how much weight I'd lost, and things like that. And at the end of the call, they told me I was approved for surgery. Yay! So I was very excited about that. At that time, they told me it could take 6 to 8 weeks for a call from the clinic to have an appointment with the doctor. But it actually took like only 2 weeks, and I had a call to make an appointment. And my appointment is next week on June 6th, so I'll let you know how that goes next week. Now, my original plan when I made this channel was to upload a video like once a month. It's been 2 months now, and I have to be honest with you, preparing for this journey and just making my health a priority, thinking about what I'm eating, adding exercise, trying to get more sleep. All of these things have been taking up a lot of my mental bandwidth. Now, I mentioned in the last video that people think that surgery is the easy way out, and it really is not the easy way out. And this is an example of that. So like back in February, I gave up like caffeine and sugar, and I pretty much did that at the same time. So I was blaming a lot of my non-productiveness on like caffeine withdrawal and sugar withdrawal. And I'm sure that's part of it, at least to some degree. It's kind of the same thing when it comes to like just the eating portion even. Making these big changes to your diet, eating better, all of those things, trying to lose weight. It's 80% mental, I think, and 20% physical. So the 20% there talks about physically like eating certain things, making your menu, doing all the things, and your exercise. But in the overall scheme of things, it really is a mental game. And this is why it's not the easy way out. As I mentioned last time, if you go into this surgery with the idea that, okay, I have a goal, I want to lose X amount of weight, and once I meet that goal, that's it, I can now stop worrying about it. If that's the way you're going into it, you're going to end up gaining weight back again. And because there's always a big chance that you can gain the weight back again. You can stretch out your stomach and gain the weight back. So I don't want that to happen to me. I have struggled with my weight for a while. Like I mentioned in the last video, it didn't really bother me to be overweight in and of itself. It was when it started making big differences to my quality of life that I really started thinking about doing the surgery. And it's because it is such a mental game that it has been taking up so much of my mental bandwidth. In order to try to make sure that this is successful, because I don't want to go through the surgery and all the pain and the recovery and all of that stuff and end up not being successful. In order to increase my chances of success and to increase the chance that I won't regain the weight down the road, there are some things I've been doing. Well, I mentioned before that I've been kind of reading through the information that was prepared by the bariatric clinic in Halifax. And I also am reading some books. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about a couple of the books I've been reading. The books I'm reading is a cognitive behavioral workbook for weight management. And you can see by all the sticky notes I have attached and my pencil here attached that I've been reading through this, and there's a bunch of exercises that help you figure out like your BMI, what your target heart rate should be, and all of that stuff. So I've been working through it, and I've been filling out all the exercises as I go along. I actually read this book before when I did the medical bariatric program, which I ended up gaining the weight back from afterwards. But yeah, so I'm rereading this. I'm going through all the exercises and filling it out. So this book is based on cognitive behavioral therapy. A second book I've been reading, which was actually recommended by the Halifax Bariatric Network, and I have it on Kindle, this one, is called Healthy Habits Suck. Okay. And How to Get Off the Couch and Live a Healthy Life Even If You Don't Want to, which of course, probably the greater majority of us don't want to do it, even though we know we have to or we should. So yeah. Healthy Habits Suck. This one is based on what's called acceptance and commitment therapy, which is also a type of cognitive behavioral therapy. But one thing I really liked about that book is that it talks about making these changes in your life value-based as opposed to goal-based. Because like I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you set yourself a goal, I want to lose X amount of weight and I want to do it by this date, that's great. If you make yourself a SMART goal and you make it timely, measurable, and so on, that's awesome. But what happens when you reach that goal? Are you going to stop trying? If you stop with those changes you've made in order to lose the weight to start with, and you go back to your old habits, well, what's going to happen? You're going to end up gaining the weight back. I've gone through the trouble of following their 1,200 calorie liquid diet for 2 weeks. I follow their 1,200 calorie restricted diet. They said for a minimum of 3 months, but it's been more than 3 months for me now. And then I'm going to go through the surgery. And of course, for the surgery, there's going to be the pain of the surgery, the recovery time, and so on. I do not want to go through all of that and then end up gaining back the weight this time, okay? Especially considering I have been very excited about my non-scale victories, which I'll talk about in a minute. So yeah, I don't want to lose those benefits that I've been gaining. So in Healthy Habits Suck, one of the examples I give is like if you make living a healthy lifestyle as a part of your value system as opposed to just a goal, then that means you're more likely to follow through because you're making that a part of who you are. Like, I value having good health and good mobility. I value my family. I value being able to spend time physically doing things with my family. Those are the things that are going to keep me going, I think, beyond, say, the surgery and just the year or two beyond the surgery. That's what's going to, I think, help me keep the weight off for the long term. Because I mentioned before, I've tried many ways to lose weight. I always end up gaining the weight back. And in my last video, I mentioned before that in the medical bariatric program, I lost like 72 pounds, which was a lot of weight. That was the most weight I've ever lost. But then I ended up gaining it all back with COVID and so on. In my preparation to be accepted into this bariatric program for the surgery, I followed all those steps. I followed the liquid diet. I followed the restricted diet. And like I mentioned in my last video, I also was on Ozempic for a while and on Contrave for a while. So, and doing all of that stuff between last June when my doctor referred me and now, I've lost 78 pounds. So this is now officially the most weight I've ever lost in one attempt, okay? And this is before I even had the surgery. So I'm very excited about that. And there's been some big changes in my life because of that weight loss. I have gained back a lot of my mobility again. So for example, back in April, my husband and I took our kids up to that one little tip of Nova Scotia and Cape Breton where we could see the total solar eclipse. In order to get the best view, we wanted to walk up to the top of this ridge. Now my husband was like, you shouldn't do it. Because I mean, considering how my mobility had been recently, like since breaking my ankle and then gaining the weight, my mobility has been really bad, and he did not want me to re-injure myself. So he did not want me to do it, but I was insistent. I am going up to the top of that ridge to see the total solar eclipse. And I did it. Believe it or not, I did it. I went up there and I came back down. The way was pretty steep and there was a lot of mud, and I still managed to do it, and I was actually pretty proud of myself for that. And so far there's been a lot of non-scale victories as well, like all the clothes I was wearing this time last year no longer fit me. They're all really big and baggy on me now. I've had to fish out some clothes from before I gained the weight because I have a habit of hanging on to my old clothes, like things like jeans and stuff that are pretty much not going to go to style anytime soon. So I went and fished out some of my other clothes that I hadn't worn in a while. And lo and behold, I'm fitting back into things that were at least a few sizes smaller. So I was pretty excited about that as well. This year, I'm back into gardening. I mean, the first year I moved here, like our backyard is fairly big, but it's pretty uneven. So the first year we moved here, I attempted to do a garden, but the ground was so uneven that with my mobility issues, it was really almost impossible for me to be walking back and forth there all the time. So for the past couple weeks this year, we've been doing gardening. I've been able to walk around my yard without worrying about, tripping and falling or whatever. I haven't had to worry about the pain and balance issues. It's almost like I've been really excited because I feel like I've gained my life back again. And this is before I've even had the surgery. So on the one hand, people might think, okay, well, you've lost all this weight without actually doing a surgery, so why are you going to do the surgery? Well, first of all, the surgery is a tool. For the daily calorie intake I'm having right now, in order to do this to do this program, it's not really sustainable in the long run unless I have that tool, like the gastric sleeve, like I have that surgery and I just have that sleeve to work in. Because it has actually been getting harder and harder. Like when I first did the 1200 calorie liquid diet, I actually found it really easy because it was very easy to just follow that, like the smoothies and the protein drinks, and that's all I had to worry about. So I found that part easy. But as time is going by, I've been trying to go back a little bit towards the normal eating, but with like limited portions and so on. And it has been getting harder and harder. And I know in the past that this is a time in the past where things would have failed for me. So I really am looking forward to having that surgery so that I have that tool that will help to keep me on track. Because with that smaller stomach, I'll need fewer calories to keep myself feeling full and satiated. That's not to say the hunger won't come back, because from all I've heard and all the research I've done, it can and probably will. But with that tool, I think I'm more likely to continue with these changes and to be successful in the long run. So this video was a lot shorter than the last video. I just wanted to come in and give you an update and say, yay, I was approved for the surgery, assuming that nothing comes up with my appointment with the doctor, because he has to check out my stomach and so on. So assuming nothing comes up there, I'm approved for the surgery. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to having the surgery. I've already seen some really great changes, so I'm looking forward to having more great changes in the future. So hopefully it won't take me 2 months to post the next video. I'm hoping that after my appointment with the surgeon, I will actually be able to do a little quick update then. And maybe at that point, I'm hoping that I'll also get to show you some of the things I have in my kitchen that I've been kind of building up over the years to help with healthy eating, and that'll help keep me on track after my surgery. Thanks for coming and watching my video. If you have any questions about bariatric surgery or vertical sleeve gastrectomy or anything like that, you can leave them in the comments and I will answer them in my next video. If you've enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, please press the like button and subscribe. Thank you.